Well, I am now going to reveal the big fitness gym bodybuilding secret to you that you're only allowed once you have stepped foot in the palace of fitness. Are you ready? Simon the Bald A-Hole here. Happy Saturday to you. I hope you're having a great day. I hope you're having the best day ever, which is not a quantifiable thing. Because you may be thinking you're having the best day ever, but if someone else is just like eating donuts all day and that's their dream, then they're having the best day ever.
More. I don't understand it.
Best day ever is not real, so you may as well enjoy yourself all the time. This was inspired by an Instagram comment that I got, a message I should say. I'm not going to say who it was because they may not want me to reveal that. I do try and read as many as I can, and I try to respond to as many as I can as well. But if you do want me to mention you in case I do make a video that you've mentioned or suggested, just let me know in the message, and of course I'll shout you out. I'm just not doing it here because I don't want to embarrass anybody or make people feel self-conscious. But they got in touch with me and said that they were suffering from a very specific gym-related problem, and should they worry about it? Should they not worry about it? Should they do anything about it? And it just inspired this list. I was like, man, we've all gone through certain things when it comes to the gym that we do actually... You know, it's not really that big a deal. But of course, it feels like a big deal. I've been there. Again, when I first lost my hair, you may as well have told me I was going to hell. It took me forever to get my head around it. Ironically, I had to get my head around being bald. But look, here is 10 problems that we all go through that you really don't need to worry about in that old gym. Number 8, this is where it all began, is excessive sweating. Now, we're all going to sweat in the gym from time to time, especially when it's hot. But some people are going to sweat more than others. Some people have conditions, which means they can't control their sweat. And even when they step into a room, they're just pouring it down. And I used to suffer from that a lot. In fact, I don't anymore. I still sweat more than the average man. But where the hell that went, I don't know. I don't want to question it. It's gone and I don't want it to come back. And I totally understand why that would be something that you are suffering with, right? Especially if you're going into a class. If you're going into a class and you're waving your arms around, you're doing combat or body pump or Pilates, whatever the hell those things are called, and your sweat is flying around, this is really, really, really bad. So maybe in that environment, you do need to make sure you have a towel. You need to make sure you clean up after yourself, as you do when you're in the gym. But when you're in the gym just lifting weights, if you are excessively sweating, I kid you not, it doesn't matter. And I can only talk from my perspective, but I also believe if anybody does think it's a problem, they're just a massive douchebag and you should punch them in the face and kick them in the chest. Not literally, it's not worth it, you'll go to jail. But the only thing I would ever ask of someone, well, of anybody really, especially at the moment with the whole COVID stuff, is to just clean up after themselves. That's all. Because what difference does it really make? If I sweat, let's say I sweat normally, right? Say I have 8% perspiration, and that counts as a normal sweat off, and you have 72% perspiration, which is considered too much. It is the exact same way to clear up that problem. Let's say we're on the leg press. Why the hell not? We're on the leg press. I left. There's my 8% perspiration. I get a towel. I get the spray. I clean it all off. It's dry. It is ready for the next person. As long as you do the same thing, even though you left it more wet at the time, because you've now doubled down on it and it's still dry when I get there, who gives two hoots? And if anything, sometimes I feel like I don't sweat enough. And I look at myself in the mirror like, you absolute goon. Why aren't you sweating more? It means you're not working hard. So at least you've got you should walk away the other. You should have a t-shirt that says, I'm sweating this much because I'm working harder than you. So I totally understand why you'd feel self-conscious. I used to get it a lot when I used to go to meetings in London. That doesn't happen anymore. On the tube, I'd come out and just, so I've been wearing like a nice suit, but then I also I went for a swim. But there is something wrong with that guy. But look, we all get it. We all understand. I have never once judged anybody for sweating. What I have judged is when I get to a bench and there's a nice round sweat patch there. I'm like, this is disgusting. But that's why it really, really doesn't matter. So if anybody is judging you because of that, flub them off and just make sure that you're cleaning up after yourself and all is good. Number 7 is that you're not lifting enough. Oh my gosh, this happens all the time. I don't want to tell the story again. I've told it, but I'm going to. I'm like your old granddad. You're like, oh, I've got to listen to granddad's story again. But because you love me, you put up with me. That's how I've decided our relationship is. But a friend of mine, through lockdown, decided he was going to start working out, and then gyms reopened, and he went, and he was really devastated that he could only squat the bar, which of course weighs 20 kilograms, 45 pounds. I was like, you've got to snap out of that. It doesn't matter. You're not just lifting the bar. Get rid of that just. You're lifting the bar. What were you lifting yesterday? Nothing. You were eating pancakes and sticking them up your ass. Don't do that. There's no nutritional benefit. But This is what I mean. If anybody, once again, I mean, a lot of these are going to be this way, but I do need to mention it because that's what you're worrying about is that the big jack guy in the corner is squatting, I don't know, 200 kilograms and you're there with your 20 kilograms. Well, guess what? The first day he walked or she walked into a gym, he was doing or she was doing nothing as well because you have to build up to it and you have to grow and you have to evolve. And anybody that actually gives a crap about the gym to begin with is only there for them. They don't care about anybody else, not in a bad way, but because you're in competition with yourself. So there is no rules about lifting too heavy. In fact, I think it's more stupid when people try and lift too much as compared to lifting too little. I've never seen anybody doing proper form, lifting too little and gone, what a loser. But I've absolutely seen people load up the bench with like 400 kilograms and go, meh, and do about that much range of motion and go, I don't think they're a loser, but I do think that was really pointless. That was really pointless. I mean, you may as well say I'm hungry and then stick your head into an oven. Like, you're not going to eat your own head, so what the hell are you even doing? It does not matter what you are lifting. As long as you're pushing yourself, as long as you're doing progressive overload, as long as you're being intense, as long as you're hitting all your muscle groups, you are training and you are training well. Number 6 is that you missed the session, right? You missed the session, you beat yourself up, or maybe you had a long day at work and you're like, I don't want to go, and your motivation doesn't kick you into gear, and we'll go with the term that people assume they're doing, laziness wins. All right, do you know how much difference it's going to make missing one session? 0, nothing, nada, pap. It's not going to make a blind bit of difference as long as it's just that one session. And also, you could probably argue that if you felt that against going to the gym and working out, it was probably your body and your brain telling you needed a rest. And, resting is just as important as breaking the muscle down and training in a gym. You have to rest and recover, otherwise you can never go back. Like, if that was a disease, it would be the most terrifying disease of all time. So you are allowed to miss one session. If you start missing 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, then it's a problem. But if you have gone, I mean, you don't need to go this much, but if you were gone Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and you decided Sunday you weren't going to go, even though you were meant to, do not beat yourself up about it. Even if you didn't go the other way, let's say you're meant to go Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and you don't go Wednesday. That one session, as long as it's, again, solely that isolated incident, is not going to impact your long-term goals. Again, this is a marathon, it's a sprint, it's a long-term thing. You just got to keep chipping away at it. And that means at times you are going to have these little fall downs, but if it's good for your mental health, then it's good for your gym health. Number 5 ties into it too. You ate off plan. Oh no. Maybe you were at some kind of meeting or some kind of work function and you just felt a little bit awkward. Someone came up to you, would you like a biscuit? And you're like, no thanks. They're like, take the biscuit. And you're like, oh my gosh, this person's going to kill me. So you take it and then you feel like you have to eat it. And then you're thinking, oh, it's 200 calories. Blah, blah, blah. It doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter if you go out for a work do and you think you're going to a nice Italian restaurant where you're going to be able to eat okay, but then you end up in Pizza Hut and you end up in like 6 degrees of cheese, which is the name of my new EP. You will be able to work. There's 2 ways to do it. 1, don't worry about it and just make sure you get back on tomorrow for all the reasons we just talked about, because it's about consistency in the long term. Or 2, you can just make it up throughout the day. If you're meant to be eating 2,500 calories and you think, oh, that pizza was probably about 400, 500 calories, just cut it out elsewhere. That's all it's about. Balance, it's about moderation, it's about being smart, it's about calories in, calories out. I don't think you should get too obsessed with it, but you could even go do a 500 calorie run or a 500 calorie swim or a 500 calorie walk, whatever. 500 calorie walk will take you forever. But the point is, there's always ways and means, and you can't expect life to always hand you like gym effectiveness on a silver platter. In fact, life is the thing that gets in the way the most. Some days I want to go to the gym, and I can't because there's too much work, or I screw up a deadline, or there's a personal matter I have to see to. Sometimes I want to make sure I eat on plan, but I can't because of all the things we've talked about. It's just making sure that you adapt it as a lifestyle, accept the changes as and when they come, and don't make it a thing you do every single day. It's when you start doing things every single day that you fall off the wagon. You can sort of not even fall off the wagon. You can kind of like be dragged on the floor by the wagon, but then somebody will reach out, grab you, and they will get you back on. Number 4 is you feel intimidated in the gym. You feel intimidated in there. And I think this is probably the number 1 reason people don't go, because they think they're going to walk in there and every single person, like you go to one of those sort of local pubs where the same old guys have gone for the last 50 years and you're not allowed in there unless you're one of these old guys. You walked in and it's like, phoom, they all turn and look at you and you're like, I was going to go. I don't even want to drink anywhere. I just accidentally walked in here. And that's what people think is going to happen at the gym. I have been to some intimidating gyms in my life. The first gym I ever went to was called Power Bodies. And it was Ultra Bodies. It was one of the 2. It was full of huge dudes who could have stepped on a bodybuilding stage tomorrow. They were mass monsters. And I will tell you this, kind of breaks my rule down, but there's an exception to every rule. They did intimidate me. And they intimidated me because they liked the gym, they liked the atmosphere, and they wanted to see if I was serious. It lasted probably 2 to 3 sessions. And again, I'm a very, very headstrong individual. I was like, you want to challenge me, pal? I'll challenge you right back. And on the 4th session, they just left me be. Like, okay, this guy's serious. He can be in the pack. Now, I do not agree with that mentality at all. And this was a long-ass time ago. I don't think you would get that now. But in most 99.9% of gyms, and again, you'd be able to figure out if it was that, I'm sure, no one is going to worry about it. Absolutely nobody. They're quite big these days, especially these chain gyms. So you'll have space where you can just separate yourself from the pack. Anyone that has any decency will just be so happy, if they are even going to think this, they're probably not even thinking about you, but if they are, they'll be so happy and proud that you're actually trying to make a difference, that you're just joining like the gym brotherhood, or whatever you want to call it, the fitness friends. That's a much better one. You're joining the fitness friends. You're joining the bodybuilding bros. That's not fair on girls. Oh, you know what I'm talking about. But it's like, that's the most important thing. And it's always going to be terrifying first time you go. Of course it is. I can't remember this now, but I'm pretty sure it's terrifying the first time you have a haircut. And obviously it went badly for me. Or the first time you buy a house, or the first time you go to work, or the first day you go to school, or the first day you meet someone that ends up being your best friend. You just have to kind of get through that hurdle, but it is not specific to the gym. Try and equate it to other things in your life where you have overcome obstacles, and just paste everything you learned there for the gym. And when you do get used to surroundings, you've got a plan, you're doing well, it won't be that intimidating anymore. It will just be the give. Number 3 ties right into that is that you don't know what you're doing. We'll keep this one nice and simple. Make a plan before you go. Watch videos like this, go on the internet, search whatever you're looking for. Make sure you go in there and know, I'm going to work back, I'm going to work buys, and I'm going to do 30 minutes of cardio, and I'm going to do deadlifts, I'm going to do pull-ups, and I'm going to do barbell rows, and I'm going to do dumbbell curls, I'm going to do preacher curls, I'm going to do 30 minutes on the treadmill, then I'm out of there. Then there is nothing to worry about. You're not going to trip up over yourself. It's like anything else you do when you get to work. I've got to do that finance report. I've got to have that meeting. I've got to do that phone call over Zoom, right? And you get it done. Same with the gym. Same with the gym. It'll keep you focused. It'll keep your eye on the prize and all of that nonsense, and just train as intensely as you want. And then just make sure from that point on, you're always training a little bit more intensely than you did last time. Number 2 is you hate how you look. Well, I am now going to reveal the big fitness gym bodybuilding secret to you, that you're only allowed once you have stepped foot in the palace of fitness. Are you ready? Everybody hates how they look. Everybody. Even Phil Heath, who actually isn't Mr. Olympia at the moment, but we use him because he came to my mind, doesn't 100% like how he looks. Arnold Schwarzenegger didn't, even though he was like the most proud, arrogant man ever. Nobody does. That's why we keep going back. And that's why we're so obsessed with it. Because no one ever gets to a point, even the gym bros, the super, super up their own ass, egotistical gym bros, who are in front of the mirror going, oh my gosh, I love myself. Even they, I promise you, are not 100% happy with how they look. That's why they've got the facade. It's a facade. It's a defense. It's like, when you go to a funeral and you don't know what to do because you're so emotional. So you just go, ha, 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 and you start laughing. It's a defense mechanism. So do not worry that you hate how you look, because everybody not hates how you look. That's going to come out wrong. Can you imagine? Hates how they look. I'm about to say number 1, skull crushers, and then I realized I was looking at the wrong list. Like, I always have a list next to me to remind me what it sounds like. Skull crushers. It's a tricep video we've got coming up. Number 1, of course, is that you don't enjoy it. And that's because so many people think if you want to get big, you got to go to the gym. If you want to lose weight, you got to go on some kind of cardio machine. Nope. Find the activity that works for you. I get that it's harder in 2020 because the world is a vastly different place, but you can become a wrestler. I did that. You can go do MMA. You can do boxing. You can go to classes, which may feel better because it's a social experiment. You can just go with a friend and, get the enjoyment that way, even though you don't necessarily like the exercises you were doing. There is 1,001 ways. And if anybody ever tells you there is only one, it is absolute baloney, and they are probably trying to sell you something. They really are. I have seen people get in terrific shape without doing one stereotypical resistant exercise. They're still putting their muscles under pressure and still forcing them to grow, but they're not lifting weights in the traditional sense. They just went and found something else. CrossFit. You may absolutely love CrossFit. Maybe you just want to go rock climbing. You know how hard rock climbing is? The sheer pressure it puts on your forearms. It's like someone's trying to rip them off. That's what I call it. I'd call it rip your arms off wall fun. Or wall death. I don't know what I'm talking about. It's been a very, very long day. But that is the least of your problems. Like, you wouldn't eat an apple if you don't like apples, so you just don't do it. You have an orange instead. It's the same with the gym. Find your orange and just run with it until you're just in love with the damn thing. And as soon as you're in love with it, it is the easiest thing in the world. So there you go, 10 gym problems that we've all experienced, but you do not need to worry about. I would love it if somebody had told this to me, so hopefully there's some worth in me passing it on. Like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell, ding, ding. There's a video on screen right right now. Give it a click should you wish to stay with me for the day. I have a Patreon, patreon.com/Simon316, how you can support the channel if you want, don't have to. Twitter, Instagram at Simon316. SimonMiller.BigCartel.com for merchandise. And I think that's everything, apart from me saying thank you very much for your time. See you soon.